Hello and welcome to the fifth OLY podcast show. Can't believe we're here, guys. Just want to say thank you so much for your support so far. We've had some really positive words back, so yeah, I can only say thank you for that. Something a bit different today. We have none other than local boy Michael Hamilton on the show. It's a bit different because Mike is not an Olympian, he's not a CrossFit Games athlete, and he's sure as shit not a millionaire. But what he is probably one of the most successful people you haven't heard about. The reason I wanted to get Mike on was in getting to know Mike in the early stages of our friendship, he was actually in the process of closing down a business, which traditionally and historically is a very, very uncomfortable bump and grind process with a lot of people involved, with a lot of intricacies, and more often than not, it can get ugly. I was dumbfounded at the grace and elegance and integrity in which Mike done this whole process, and it's complete testimony to his character. So I wanted to sit down with him and kind of pick his brain on why and how he done that, and how he made the decisions he did, because I definitely learned a lot from this podcast. So yeah, me and Mike have gone on to be good friends, and we have a lot of fun recording this, and that definitely comes through, so I guarantee you will get some laughs. So just want to say thank you again, and I'll leave you with the company motto of small victories repeated daily. Thanks guys, I hope you guys enjoy. Michael Hamilton. Michael has done many things. He is a jack of all trades, and we kind of met on a bit of a random excursion.
So random.
I slid into Mike's DMs. When was it?
Flip. Has it even been a year?
I don't think it has.
We'll call it a year.
We'll call it a year.
Call it a year.
But yeah, I slid into Michael's DM. I was somehow drawn towards him, and I asked his wife's permission to slide in, and she let me slide in, and that's just what I done. So I'm kind of butchering this intro, so I'll let you introduce yourself. Mike, say hello to everyone.
Hello, everyone. I was kind of concerned there when you started talking about high performing, and I was wondering where that was going, because anyone who's listening to this will know that I'm not an athlete. So
yes, but listen, mate, you're successful in your own right, and we will get to that. But yeah, mate, give the people a bit of a background info. What do you do? Where are you from? What's your life story?
Slick. Okay, so I'm 25. We've just discovered that we were in the same year at school, but not the same school. I always thought you were more mature than me, even though I look older. But hey,
really, me more mature?
No, I suppose, well, right now, if I start here and work back, I'm currently working as chef, cook, kitchen guy, also have some side hustles of my own. Mm-hmm.
Actually, mate, you should tell the people where we are, because this is video format as well, so right. We are, actually, I was just about to take your thunder. Go on, tell them where we are.
We can...
No.
Okay, so this is Root and Branch Cafe on the Ormo Road. We got 3 premises, but this is kind of the upper end of the Ormo Road, so Jameson Street, if you know it. Yeah, so Root and Branch, that's where I'm based, that's where I work full-time-ish. Yeah, so at the minute, 3 days in the kitchen, a couple of days out in the road doing sales, which you probably didn't actually know yet.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, so that's been fun the
nice.
Last few weeks. But going back a little bit, I had my own coffee shop before this, and yeah, I've just been doing a few wee things that we'll kind of we'll get to.
Yeah, so Mike is kind of like myself. He started your entrepreneur journey very young. You literally have just informed me. He started selling potatoes when he was 7. That's even younger than I was when I started my own jam. But yeah, mate, talk us through that, kind of what got you into trying to do your own thing.
Yeah, I know it was only today I was thinking about when did it actually all start. So my grandparents live on an old farm.
Yeah.
And there was just always this conversation about how they used to kind of hobby farm, if you like.
Yeah.
And I was just always super intrigued by farming and all that kind of thing. This is so random because I'm a city boy, Mm-hmm. But yeah, at about 7 or 8, me and my brother decided we were gonna take on the
family business.
The family business. Yes. Yeah. So one kind of springtime, I think, is when you plant potatoes. If it's not, someone will tell me. But yeah, we planted potatoes and then just went and told all our family that these potatoes were going to be ready in whatever month. Took their orders, supplied them with potatoes. They supplied us with £1 coins. I actually, no joke, I still, like, to this day have the book, little notebook that I, like, took the orders in.
Oh, boys.
And it's like mum, dad, nan, papa.
Mate, they were definitely petty orders.
Yeah, no, definitely. Well, obviously, like, I was 7. But for about 3 years, that's what me and my brother did. So
Yeah.
I think I've always had that kind of, like, urge to just do something.
Entrepreneurial streak, let's call it.
Yeah. Spirit.
Spirit.
Entrepreneurial spirit. Fire within.
Oh, nice. I like that.
Yeah, so I think, obviously, that was just a wee bit of crack and stuff at the time. That was a big deal to me. But then, yeah, like, going through school, I never really enjoyed the study, never really enjoyed the, like, the books, if you like. Always wanted to do something slightly different. Yeah, and then when I left school, I started. So,
And what was kind of the first big project that you went into? Did you go into like a standard 9 to 5 work, or did you kind of hit the ground running on your own?
pretty much. Well, so I did. I went and got a job in a coffee shop and lasted 2 weeks.
Ooh.
That was the summer I left school, and it was actually there. I was so offended by how the place was run.
Yeah, that you were like, right, I can do this better myself.
Well, not even that, but just like, I just knew that like there was cracks and stuff, and I just hated it. Like, so, yeah. But actually from there, I decided I was gonna like go out on my own. I was big into sport and fitness and stuff at the time. I still am, but you know. So I went and did my personal training course.
Oh, like we all do.
Yes,
We all do.
Yes, £1,600 well spent. And obviously I knew everything at that point.
Yes.
Yeah, so started like running circuits classes in like church halls, that kind of thing. That was class. And yeah, started like selling programs, if you like.
Nice.
So yeah, all those getting into online training now.
You were the early adopter, essentially.
Something like that, yeah.
If you're an online coach now, basically you copied Michael Hamilton's model. That is what.
MHPT is what it was.
Oh, boys. Well,
Yeah, so
I was going to drop a cheeky one in there, but I'm not going to.
do it
But no,
it.
because
because I moved on.
no, it's nothing to do with you. It's another famous Instagram influencer doing online programming that they're really. Actually, do you know what? I'm not going to finish the sentence. She has way too much influence for me. So, yes, mate, that's kind of bringing us well into the first question, which if I get it up here. How did you start out in business? Because you were really, really young and you started the Drawing Room in Bangor, which probably a lot of people will know you for. You started that when you were 23, which is incredibly young to take on a brick and mortar business.
Yeah.
And literally that just refers to a high street-esque business where, you know, you've got your rent, you've got your building fee, maintenance, all that stuff. So yeah, like I say, you're 23 when you started. That's very, very young. What the hell brought you to that revelation?
It was actually, do you know what? It was something that I kind of like. Background of the story is that my brother and I were kind of looking at doing something, opening a coffee shop, and at the time, like, it wasn't perfect for him. He was getting married like in around that time, and obviously like saving for a wedding, a house, all that kind of thing. And so he sort of just gave me his blessing to just like run on with it and pursue it myself. So I kind of like stumbled across a business partner, totally by chance, but also through the guys here at Written Branch. And she was like, she had the property, she had the equipment, like she was
The
there,
infrastructure of a business, let's say.
Yeah, so yeah, I kind of got involved with her, and we started a limited company in 2017, and that was the start of it. Like,
Awesome.
But it was funny. It was like with her, it was a complete chance encounter, and like, you know, we actually split last year, and to be honest, like, don't have any connection now, like, which is crazy, but. Like, life kind of brings people in and out
big time.
out of your path that way. And so at the time, like, it was great. But yeah, like, it was just like the sum of like a lot of small connections, I suppose, with people, like the guys here and
It always else. That's the way it always goes. You know, like a lot of people think you need to you know, it needs to be the right person or the perfect kind of the perfect plan, and generally it never really is that. It's kind of opportunity and time and meeting opportunity, and a bit of luck sprinkled on top as well. But I think the sheer fact that you were going out there and you were looking for that, like, it might not have come in the flavor that you thought it would, but it came all the same. Yeah. And even talk us through that. You know, what were the processes in setting up the drawing room and setting up the cafe and making it what you wanted it to be, essentially?
Yeah. So I suppose, like, whenever we kind of set that up, now, like 3 years down the line, I can kind of see, you know, the bigger picture and where it started, and like how naive we were. Yeah. And it was kind of just like, here, let's do this, and let's do it this way. Like, initially when the shop opened, it was like coffee and sweet things. And like, that's a cool idea, but like, unless you have hundreds of people coming through
every day,
your shop every day, like, you're never going to make it work. And obviously in this country, like, we don't have any like massive built up areas with like loads of people. Yeah. So very quickly we learned that we actually need to incorporate food into the menu and stuff. And so there were all these like little things along the way that we learned the hard way, I suppose. Some not so hard lessons, but yeah, some lessons were like, you know, remember like coffee and sweet things turning over like 65, 70 quid a day. And that doesn't even touch your cost. Exactly. So yeah, we had to kind of adapt really quickly and just like evolve and grow what we were doing. So yeah, as I say, like, we brought food onto the menu, breakfasts, lunches, that kind of thing. Like, our opening hours probably changed like 3 or 4 times within the first kind of 6 or 7 months. And then we started doing like evening events, ticketed events, like different collaborations with like other organizations and, you know, like artisan makers and that kind of thing. So yeah, like, there was no like set in stone plan, like, this is what we're doing and this is how we're doing it. It was all just like, let's figure it out as we go, which I think like a lot of people do. And I think it's something that I've really used a lot in my own business model, is like, the plan that you start out with, like, for me, I can only relate, like, the plan that I had for OLY Clothing is night and day different to what it actually is now. And I would say that was much so the same for you. And in terms of whenever you were doing that process, what were the main indicators that showed you that you needed to change? Was it being aware? Was it data points? Was it, you know, feedback from customers? Yeah, so a bit of everything. I actually, a few months into the journey, I went on to SurveyMonkey. And just created like this survey, and it was just like, I think it was called like, how are we doing? And we just like posted it on our Facebook page, and yeah, just invited like everybody to just like have their say, which is kind of scary, I think, because it is like scary. You can get anything, and obviously like there were some crazy like off the wall things like, why do you not have a sauna in your coffee shop? Exactly, yeah, like, you need sofas, and like, we can sit like 15 people at the best of times. So like, but yeah, so that was cool, just to kind of like get feedback, because obviously like when you're on one side of the counter, like, you only see things one way, and then obviously like people coming in through the door, like, they're the ones that are getting like the special treatment, so like, they need to be the ones that are telling you whether it's good enough or not. So that was one of the things, and then I reposted that survey twice more, like 6 or 8 months down the line, and it was just to see like, had we actually improved since the first time round. So like, yes, customer feedback was a massive thing, but also then I suppose like, with like all these like fancy till systems, like, they give you like graphs and charts and everything, sales like analytics, you love them and you hate them. Exactly. So, but that's how you learn. And it was a case of like, all right, is this selling well? Let's keep it, let's push it more on our socials. Is this not doing so well? Like, why are we wasting our time? Like, get rid of it. And it's just learning off those kind of like trends and things. Like, hospitality is a really funny thing, because like, you think on a really wet day nobody's going to come out, they're going to stay in the house, and actually like, they turn out to be your busiest days. Yeah. Like a couple of weeks ago, there was obviously like storms here, and it was like our busiest weekend, like, in this place. That's crazy. And you think like,
People want to
like
stay
if I were off, I would still be in my pajamas, like. So yeah, no, like it's funny, like you just can't predict things in hospitality, but you kind of just have to like ride the wave and see what you can.
So it's pretty interesting to hear that start of the journey, and it's pretty interesting to see how it developed over time. One of the main things that I wanted to talk to you about, obviously the drawing room is not about anymore, and I'll give a bit of context to that. So I think we only really buddied up during that period of you considering closing the shop and then actually closing the shop.
Yeah.
And during that process, I witnessed you handle more stress than most will ever handle. I witnessed you, I don't know if we can edit this out if you don't want me to say it, but paying, your own staff out of your own pocket to make sure that they got, sorted. I witnessed, you make incredibly hard decisions, but do it with such grace, and do it with integrity and honesty to both your customer and your staff and your team. What was the thought process in that, and well, even just talk me through that. Like, what was that like, having to kind of close down a business that you put your heart and soul into for so long?
Yeah, like obviously it is, as you say, like super rough, and there were nights where like literally I just lay in bed like in tears with the whole thing. But I think like one of the words that you said there was integrity, and for me that was probably the main thing. Like, how do I not like screw anyone over, not like wreck a good reputation, not like my own but the shop's. How can I do all these things well? And integrity plays obviously a massive part in that. And so it was kind of just being faithful to like what we had achieved so far, and not like throwing it away for the sake of like saving a couple of quid, and kind of like saving my own self, like. But I suppose like one of the main things for me is like the people that you surround yourself with either make you or break you. Like, you just respond to the situations that happen to you, but like when you have a good support network and you got people who have your back, like it's really easy to make hard decisions, I think. So like obviously like my parents, grandparents, and my wife as well, like knowing that through the whole journey, like
they had your back.
They had my back, exactly. And whether I made like the absolute best decision or the right decision, like they were going to support me. For me, that was the most important thing. So constant like bouncing stuff off them, and certain other people in my life that like have been there, have done that. You go to them for advice and stuff. But yeah, I suppose like to kind of get back to like, how did I figure out that this was the right thing to do and all that sort of thing? Like, I think there comes a point when like a business isn't making money, and like on a consistent, like regular basis, you gotta ask like, why not? So obviously like where we were based is kind of a quiet town, and there was like a few major retailers had moved out of the town, and so with that, like that takes a lot of footfall. Obviously like big businesses can just like afford to pick up and move, but when you're small, like independent, and you don't have like capital backing and stuff, like it is hard to just like,
you just can't do it.
You can't. So you gotta just keep moving and keep like doing what you do as best as you can. But we were noticing like footfall dropping off, and like that was across the whole town, so not just like our one shop. So every retailer in the town were noticing like numbers dropping off. Rates continued to rise, as they do so well. So yeah, like there was a few factors, like our lease was coming up for renewal, and our landlord was kind of pushing me for like a long-term lease. So there was all these kind of factors just like adding up, and I just knew like
the ultimatum was coming.
And I suppose like I made the final decision probably like 6 or 8 weeks out, but I knew it'd be 6 months out that we were kind of heading that way. And actually, so one of my grandparents, my dad's dad, basically he started off as a tradesman and worked his way up through middle management, and then eventually retired, having led like a massive organization. But I would have had loads of conversations with him about it, and he said one of the best decisions you can make in business is to close your business at the right time. And he was like, he would always talk to me about like timing of these things, and it was him that actually kind of, I think, just solidified the decision that, like, you know, you've put that wee extra bit in, and you've gone out in a high, and it was a case of like, you know, can we make it to Christmas? Can we make it to the New Year? And like, yeah, timing was everything, I think. Yeah, I got married like 3 months before we shut the thing down, and like, yeah, like Carol will tell you, like, honeymoon wasn't it wasn't the easiest, like
but the big thing, and like that, this is kind of why I deem you a successful individual, is because, you know, you're mature enough to kind of know when enough's enough, but also it's been your ability to kind of bounce back. It's been your ability to you know, yes, you can cry and moan for 5 minutes, but straight after that, you got to be gangster again, right. You know, and you have bounced back. And a lot of people would consider, you know, I know, well, I personally do know people actually that are doing something similar, but I know there's a lot of people that would fail or fall at like maybe the first, second or third hurdle and just be like, right, shit, it's not for me. You know, what was kind of your main motivators for moving on, or did it even deter you from wanting to pursue, you know, a life on your own terms, per se?
Yeah, cool. So I think I always say to people, and this is super cliche, but I've always been involved in like teams, organizations, like captain in rugby teams, or like, you know, like being a manager or whatever you want to term it. And I would always say that you either win or you learn. So like, you're
get
only
an Instagram meme, sorry. That's good though.
I think like you only lose if you don't like take the positives from a bad situation and kind of like use that to turn things around.
Let me interject. I'm pretty sure, Paddy, that's exactly what Shane said, and Shane's an Olympic level swimmer. So we've just, you're that good, bro.
Mindset, mate.
Yes.
We read the same books.
Oh.
But that's the thing. I think like if you don't in a negative situation like pull out like the good things and the positives, like you're gonna lose
big time. It's gonna consume you.
Yeah, exactly. So like, I can quite clearly look back and confidently say like we did this well, we did that well, and like, you know, were certain things different, it maybe would have panned out a different way. So yeah, like I think like my kind of mindset would be like it wasn't a failure, it was just like a small setback, a small bump, like whatever you want to term it.
Yeah.
But it wasn't like a defining factor. Like I'm 25.
Bro, so young.
Like hopefully
I
have a long life ahead of me, and so like if I'm now at 25 deciding that I've had enough, like there's something wrong.
Yeah, you've lost.
Exactly. So yeah, it's kind of keeping everything in perspective. And I think as a business owner as well, like while you're in like the nitty gritty, you've got to be so aware of that bigger picture.
Big time.
And if you lose sight of that, you've lost. Like.
Yeah, I think it's something that I personally struggle with a lot, because in our game, I don't know about yours, but ours is so seasonal, it's so up and down. And it's easy. I call it being in the trenches. Whenever you're in the shop or in the warehouse or whatever it may be, and you're doing your dailies and your day-to-days and you're giving it everything, and you're not taking a step back just to maybe see the progress or to see the lessons you've learned. And it is a really good lesson in general that, like, you know, if you think, you know, one or two things define you, or one or two failures define you, you've got it all wrong. And I think it's being able to bounce back and move forward is a trait that every single successful person will have. But yeah, mate, I would definitely, this kind of leads on to the third question that I wanted to ask you is, so starting out businesses, and actually you've got a couple of side projects that we can talk about as well, but starting out businesses is still very raw for you, still very, you know, in the last 5 years, you've started something or done something new on multiple occasions. So, one thing I wanted to ask you is, what are 3 things that you would actually that you would say to someone that is trying to start out? You know, what are 3 things that, looking back, that you wish were told to you whenever you started out? And you don't even start with one, and we can go off that.
Well, I suppose, like, and I've already touched on it, like, surrounding yourself with the right people. I remember years ago hearing a talk where someone said, like, you should always have these 3 types of people around you, and it's someone you like look up to, it's someone who's alongside you, and then it's someone to inspire. And I think, like, when you have like that sort of mindset, which I've always had, you're always chasing that person who's in front of you. You're always like, you know, seeing what they're doing and wanting to do something similar, or do, you know,
get to that level.
Exactly. Yeah. Then you have people alongside you, like, you're the sort of person I would consider like who's doing the same sort of thing.
Big time.
And we can again like bounce ideas off each other.
Always, bro.
And then just being aware that there are people kind of like looking at you, you know, with the same mindset of like that. Mm-hmm. You're now in that first person's shoes, and someone's like looking at you and saying, they're doing really well there. Like, how can I
emulate that?
Yeah. So surround yourself with the right people. Support networks are massive. Family, friends, as I say, like people who have been in business, like who have walked the path, learnt the hard way. Like get around them, ask them questions. Like, no questions stupid.
I think even I'm going to put your second one into your own mouth, but you mentioned it earlier, and the only reason I'm saying this because it was so apparent for me was the power of naivety. Like, that was definitely one thing. Your naivety and the way business can be so novel and fun in the initial stages, that's a massive motivator. That's a massive thing that people don't realize is such a tool for someone starting out. Yeah. So like, I'm totally going to hijack this and add this in, because I think it's really, really valuable. Like, the excitement that you'll get in your first 2 to 3 years of starting new things is so, it gives you an energy that, you know, you don't even need to motivate yourself. Right. Because you're showing up to something every day that is your baby, that you're learning. It's a lesson. You know, a lot of people don't realize that starting out. Yeah. Because I know one of my good friends is starting out, you know, something in photography at the moment, and he's just set up his first website, and he's sending me everything, and it reminded me what I was like. You know, starting out, and everything is so fun. So I would definitely say to anybody starting out, that is a strength. You know, that's in your wheelhouse, and someone who's been in business 10, 15 years does not have that anymore. You know, so one more might come on.
So this probably leads on from what you're just saying, and the context of it is, I walked into the shop one day and realized that I actually hated working with certain people that were on my team, right? And it was because I had let my own business get away from me. Yes. Right? So the reality is, like, if you start a business, it's not just like whatever you brand it, but like your own name is on it. And so the culture that is inside it is what you allow. Yeah, right? Big time. So either you allow a culture or you create a culture, right? So like for me, I realized that actually I'd allowed other people on my team to dictate like what the culture was, and it wasn't what I wanted my business to be. Yeah. So I had that realization that actually, like, no, I define this business and I decide what goes on in here and what we do. Epic. And keeping that as my focus then was massive, because actually, if I were to like talk to you about my staff turnover, it was so small, and the first 2 people we employed were there to the very end, and we only had one other person finish with us, and she was brought on about like 3 or 4 months in. So like, those guys are still my friends, like, and they're people that like I've built the business with, I guess. But yeah, like, you can't, regardless of how like, you know, good your relationship is with them, like,
let that get in the way.
You still create.
Yeah, I think a guy I listened to, Andy Frisella, the MFCO project, he actually has a quote for this, and it's one bad apple will ruin the orchard. And it's so true, because it takes one person to get another person on their side, because it's easier to welcome negative energy than it is to put forward positive energy, if you know what I mean. And that's a big thing. And did you see that affect your business? I'm assuming you did.
Yeah, but I think it actually affected my own head, which in turn affected the business.
Yeah.
Because I was like allowing something else to control, my thoughts. So yeah, then when I realized that was going on, like obviously I've got to like create a different culture and atmosphere. And here's another one for the cliche book, quote book, whatever you like. You're gonna love this.
Come up with a book for it.
You're gonna love this.
We'll have to start an Instagram meme page for this, Paddy. That's something we will have to do.
Culture
Yeah.
is caught, not taught.
Oh! 1 second, I'm just writing this down. Say it again one more time.
Culture is caught, not taught.
I love it.
So when I had that realization that actually like it wasn't what I wanted it to be, I just started to live out what I did want it to be, and people caught on pretty quickly. Like,
I mean, it's
we're not what we're meant to be.
That analogy has just hit me right in the nutsack, because it's something that is so prevalent in my business as well, and I can really relate to that. But we have 2 other guys in the business, and I would definitely say the effort that I put in and the example that I put forward is totally correlated in my team. If I go 2 months being lazy and half-assed, is it any wonder my team does the same?
Yeah, of course.
Because you're essentially setting a standard. You're setting the vibe, let's say, within your business. Yeah. And it's such a powerful thing. Yeah. And essentially, if we were to simplify it down, is it the example that you were setting was really started to get latched onto by your staff?
Yeah. Yeah, and that's the thing. Like, if, as you say, like if your performance is substandard, like you can't expect anyone else to
big time,
play above that. And yeah, like I would also say, like on that, your staff are never going to have the same buy-in as you are.
I learned the hard way.
And like, we talked about that excitement and that passion and that enthusiasm for like, starting something up, and that's all well and good. Like, it's your baby. It's not theirs.
Exactly.
Like, they're just looking after it. And at the end of the day, they're going to go home and put their feet up and do their own thing. Like, you're going to go home and think about it.
Yeah, big time.
So like, don't expect like your team to
work as hard as you would.
Yeah, or feel the same way about it as you would. Like, you've got it on your mind 24/7. Like, they don't.
I love that. That's so relative. But we'll park that bus for now.
Parked.
So we're going to get into another bus right now.
Okay.
And this bus is stopping at the station. That is the big major question that we ask everyone, which is, how do you define success, and what does that look like to you? What is your version of success? So answer the first one, and the second part will probably come. And try and make it word for word. I always love succinct definitions.
You're going to love this one then.
Oh, hit me.
Because you love your philosophy.
Oh, boys.
And Aristotle.
Oh, right.
Once said.
Paddy, get me the pen. Get me the pen.
He once said that excellence is a habit. Right? So it's not something that like we pull out of the bag for like big occasions, but it's actually something that we do all the time. So success for me is that kind of same thing. Like, how do you do all the small things? Like, do you do those well? And if you do, if you're faithful in like those small things, I can almost guarantee that like when it comes to the big things, like you're going to show up. So success for me is like, I guess, always doing the small things well. Because like,
how you do anything is how you do everything.
Right. So actually that came from this Aristotle quote, right? Because it actually starts off with, and I think this you can Google it later, but I'm pretty sure it's we are what we repeatedly do. So excellence is a habit.
Boys,
right?
I'm exhausted listening to this, boys. Keep it coming, Mike.
Small victories repeated daily.
Oh! Yeah, I'm going to get that tattooed on my arm.
I'm not.
Cheers.
Yeah, so it is like, for me, it's like, what do I repeatedly do? Do I get up every day with the mindset that like this is a grind, or this is actually really fun, this is enjoyable, like I'm going to give everything to this? And if I do, and as I say, like, you know, show up and the nitty gritty, like clean the floor like as best as I can, like someone's going to look at your floor and be like, don't really care.
That's a well mopped floor. Nah, they're not gonna. You're right. Nobody really is gonna care. But to you,
but exactly, like,
it matters.
Those small things are, I think, everything. So yeah, like the sum of all of those is what leads to success, I think. And so it's like it's not really like an end goal as such, but it's actually a process.
I love that. It's a journey. We had someone on this morning on the show that kind of defined it somewhat similar. You know, he defined it as whenever he was using goals to define his success, but really it was the journey of achieving this goal. Yeah. That's where he learned. That's where the magic happened. Yeah. And it's kind of similar to what you're saying, but actually your quote is not far off my kind of success mantra, which is fulfilling your potential every day. And potential is relative. And it's kind of like you on excellence, and it's something that I've started doing more so. And what you said is totally relative to me. It's something that I have started doing in my own work, is like sweat the small things. You know, give a fuck about the wee things because they matter. Yeah. And generally, it's those small details that are separators. Yeah. It's those small details that make or break you, that make you stand out, that make you be a bit more of a premium brand or a premium service or product provider than others. Yeah. And have you seen, when did you start kind of incorporating this into your life, or has it always been something that you've done?
It probably always has kind of been ingrained in me, I think.
That's interesting, because to me it sounds like I had to learn this, you know. Yeah. But did someone teach you this or tell you this?
Well, yeah. So my mum is a teacher, right? Mm-hmm. And she teaches like P1, P2, right? And there's this thing that they talk about, and it's nature or nurture. Have you heard of it? Yeah. So basically, like, you're born the way you are, or like you're nurtured to be the way you are. Yeah. And I think like that's probably the case for me, in that like there have been people who have like imparted wisdom.
But I think it's almost part of your own DNA that makes you this way. In a sense, like you were born this way to think like this. Obviously, there's some input from other people, but you know, is that what you're referring to, or were you nurtured?
It's probably a bit of both. I don't. It's hard to say, like, isn't it? Like when you
it takes deep introspection, mate.
When you think, but when you think of like, when I think of myself as a kid, I think like I did always have like in me this kind of like drive towards perfection, and like I just always wanted to be the best at things, and I never really was.
Mm-hmm. Same.
Like my brother was always a better footballer, like always a better musician, but like I still always had it in me to like push on and be better. Yeah. So I think like there probably always has been something in me, like, and it's probably just been refined by those around me, if that makes sense. Yeah. You know, like, and they've just helped to pull out that sort of thing. But I find it hard to say that like
you were born this way.
I was born this way, like.
Nobody's born in the pursuit of excellence. Yeah. Comes out of the womb, I want to open a coffee shop, mummy.
Yeah.
But it's interesting, mate, and we touched on it earlier as well. Like this kind of principle has led you to open up multiple things. So you've opened and closed a coffee shop. You're now moving into a senior role within Root and Branch, and you've done your own side gigs as well with your wonderful wife. honourable mention. Who's your wonderful wife? A couple of people will be. No, she's more popular than you, so you don't want her to steal your thunder.
I know I should be like giving you my Instagram name or something.
But no, you and Cara, you run 3x2.
Yeah.
Like, what was that project? Where did that come from?
Again, it was just like another idea. So basically, 3x2 is a mobile pizza stroke coffee trailer.
Mm-hmm.
That we take to like events, weddings, that kind of thing. And it was just like, I just had a random idea that this is what I wanted to do one time. And it just so happened that a friend of mine was selling a horse box and I bought it, and like,
one thing led to another.
But yeah, like I suppose again, as that's kind of gone on, like our first year in business with that, we basically said like, let's take on everything.
Mm-hmm.
And let's just like get our name out there, and we did, and it was class. Like it was so good, but also like backbreaking at the same time. But it kind of led us to this point where now we can just be like, yeah, we'll do it, or nah, we can't be bothered, kind of thing. So yeah, like that's been cool. That we can just like pick and choose, I guess. Like, do we want it or do we not?
Now, one thing that I'm interested in, not to get an inside scoop, but like to show the buyer at entry that it's a simple idea in principle. Obviously, there was some creative streak and spark that was needed to convert a fucking horse box into a pizzeria and coffee shop. But what was in terms of cost, and I don't know if you know their numbers, and I don't know if you want to put them on a podcast so people can listen, but how many £100 did it start, or did it take to start that there, and what was the main barriers to entry in that? Because I just, for anybody starting out, just typical things that they might encounter.
Yeah. So, well, first of all, the horse box cost £500.
Woo! Bargain.
So that was a bargain. And then we did all the work ourselves. Mm-hmm. And when I say we, I mean I.
Cara Instagrammed it.
She did, and she did it well, actually.
Oh yeah, great job.
She always made it look good. So, but yeah, like I've always kind of just grown up kind of like fixing things and tinkering with things. So like, yeah, we just cladded the outside ourselves, put cupboards in, like put a floor down. Another shout out to my brother, he did that.
I mean my brother.
Yeah, but like, so all the work was done in house. Like we didn't pay for that.
How long did it take? 100 hours, 50 hours, 30?
Flip, that's so difficult. Like one summer, most weekends.
So if we're 8 weekends, say 5 hours a day on average.
Yeah, probably.
40, 50 hours.
Yeah, probably.
That's one weekend a week, like,
Yeah. I should really buy more horse boxes and
yeah,
just
bro.
them.
Do you know what? Just buy a horse box, convert that shit, put a wee 4G price tag on it.
Yeah.
Take it and run.
True story though. Like, I know a guy who's done almost the exact same thing, and he paid a guy $8,000
to do that.
To do it, like all in, our equipment and everything. We've probably spent no more, and I think this is even a push, $2,500
for the whole thing.
Yeah,
and that includes pizza ovens, coffee machines, cost of, what's your cost of sale, like general supply, everything.
Yeah,
unreal.
And then so with that, then like obviously with events and things, like you've got your cost of like your materials. For us, it's food or coffee or whatever. But that's built into the cost to the end, to the consumer.
Exactly.
So yeah, like to make it worthy of performing.
That's incredible. So side note, any young hustler out there wants to start a quick business,
I'll sell you a horse box.
Well, even better, just buy one. Get a mate that's selling one on the cheap. Go in, give it a wee wash out, bit of carpet down, couple of shelves, sell it on. Bob's your uncle. What about it? You interested, Paddy? You want to buy a wee thing?
Whatever you do, don't put a carpet in anywhere where you're preparing food, because that's a terrible idea. But I like what you're thinking.
Oh, bro, well, there you go.
Smooth underfoot.
That's why you'll be my advisory board for this new business that I'm rolling out. One thing I like to ask everyone is where and in what form will we see you in the future? What are big projects that Mikey Hamilton will be working on?
Mike_Hamilton 15.
Ooh.
It's so funny, like, because I think, like, where I'm at right now, I always talk about life in seasons.
Ooh,
right?
Cycles and seasons.
Cycles and seasons. No, mostly seasons.
Okay.
I did take up cycling for a while, but, like, it just wasn't that enjoyable.
It's a shite sport now.
I know. It's all right, like.
No, man, anybody that sits on a bike, party for 2 hours a day, there's something wrong with their head.
Just in case my father-in-law is watching this, he doesn't mean it.
I don't mean it. Sorry. Sorry, Mr. Milligan.
Yeah, so I suppose where I'm at right now, coming off the back of a rather stressful kind of period, I'm just really enjoying, like, what I'm doing now, like working for someone else, getting paid for it. That's nice.
Oh, man. I am jealous.
And yeah, just like I've always been a part of Written Branch, and like I'm just really enjoying, like, investing in this place, and just giving all that I have to this. And at some point, yeah, like, I'll push on with something else. I have a few ideas in my head of what I'd like to do. And it probably isn't related to a coffee shop.
A few wee things in the playbook, bruh.
A few things, my friend.
Oh, a few things coming up, my G.
Yeah, so I suppose I can't give you, like, a definite, like, here's where you'll find me. But in the meantime, like, you know, we're still doing 3x2 things. So if you're getting married or whatever.
Yeah, hit a shameless plug, like.
Yeah, slide into the DMs. We are 3x2.
I've seen it. It looks legit. And
have you never had a pizza?
I don't think I have. I was about to do a lie there and say I've had it. It's great. And then I was like, no, Lewis, that would be a lie.
Yeah.
Yeah, mate. Hit a shameless plug. Hit your plugs. We're going to wrap it up. So hit your plugs. Where can people find you, and where can people see your journey?
Right. I'm not really much of.
Mate, you're a great guy for a caption.
I'm good for captions. I am. I'll give you that.
Okay.
I don't really post that often. So if you want to hear me, this is the best place to find me.
Awesome.
Yeah, it's funny actually, like, because I've met some of your pals through this place.
Have you?
Yeah.
Oh, Jack Bax.
Yeah.
The Baxter.
JBT.
Boys.
Yeah, so it's kind of cool that, like, he's become a good friend now.
Yes.
Just by coming in and, like, sampling what I throw out of the kitchen and
Nice.
now like that.
Nice.
So here's a good place to find me. But yeah, social media. Mike_Hamilton 15 is my Insta.
Hit that 3x2.
3x2 as well. We are 3x2. And my wife sometimes posts me on her socials. She's got a massive following, so Cara Hamilton.
Cara Hamilton.
Cara _.
Coming to a CrossFit competition to beat your ass soon.
Yes.
Because it happens to me every weekend.
I wasn't even going to bring it up today.
Bro, listen. I start out every weekend. See, I'm gonna have you this weekend. She's like, haha, very good.
Smack talking my wife, and I let him.
Bro, it's just trash talk, and then she comes in and rips me in the asshole, and I'm sitting thinking to myself, fuck, I'm trying to do this.
And she's the main reason why I don't do CrossFit myself.
Because she'd show you up.
Pretty much.
Well, she shows me up. Yeah. She shows most people up.
When you're as good as her, it wouldn't be hard.
I know. But yes, we'll wrap it up out of that. Listen, Mike, thank you very much. I had a great conversation.
It's been fun.
I hope a lot of people got a lot from that, especially kind of the moving on moving on to bigger and better things.
Yeah.
But yes, as with everything good, it must end. But yeah, to anybody listening, thank you so much for taking time to listen. Like I said, I hope you got something from this conversation with Michael Hamilton. If you enjoyed the show today, all we ask is that you tell one person. We want to build this show up one person at a time. Anybody you think would get value from the show, let them know that we're here. And we'll leave you, as we always do, with the company motto, which is small victories repeated daily. And we'll talk to you real soon, guys. Goodbye.
See ya.